Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Kristen and this is my channel, All the Stories. So today I am bringing to you guys my birthday book haul. March 8th was my birthday, so I got a lot of books this month for my birthday. Everyone in my family was like, what do you want for your birthday? What do you want for your birthday? What do you want for your birthday? And I was like, oh, you know, books. What else? But most of my people in my family, you know, they already know I'm a reader, so I ended up getting a ton of books for my birthday and also some bookish items. So I will go through all the things that I got for my birthday in this haul. Well, the three non-book items are all Funko Pops, so I will go through those first. The first Funko Pop that I got was given to me by my best friend Yasmin, and it is this Aang and Momo Funko Pop from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I don't know if you can see it. It's Aang and then Momo, and it's so cute. I love Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I was super excited to get this, so thank you so much to my friend. The next two Funko Pops were given to me by my boyfriend. So the story with my boyfriend was, he asked me what I wanted and I was like, books, and he was like, of course. So I had a bunch of things in my cart on Amazon, and I was gonna go through those things and take some of them out and ask him could he just buy like what I had picked out, but he saw my cart and he was like, no, that's fine, just get everything. So he literally bought everything in my Amazon cart, and I'm super grateful. It was a lot of things. It was 2 Funko Pops and 8 books, so I will talk about all those now. So everything I'm about to talk about was given to me by my boyfriend. So the first is another Avatar: The Last Airbender Funko Pop, and it is Appa from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I don't know why he's facing sideways, but I'm gonna show you this way because you can see it better. And this is the Appa Pop, so I was excited to get this because I got Aang and Momo, so now I got like the whole little team. Aang and all his animal sidekicks are there, and this one's just super cute because Appa has his tongue sticking out and it's just adorable. And the last Funko Pop that I got was a big one, and it is Daenerys and Drogon from Game of Thrones, which is my favorite TV show and one of my favorite books, and they're just so awesome. It's Daenerys riding Drogon, so I was super excited to be getting this, and these all will be displayed on my shelf. So far, I like the way my shelf is. I can't put them on the shelves, but it's sitting on the top of my bookshelf, which you guys never see, so they are displayed on my shelves. So everything else in this video is books, and next I'm going to be talking about all the books that my boyfriend got me off of Amazon. So the first book I got from my boyfriend was Enchanté by Gita Trellis, and this is a book that I've already read and didn't really like. This is the Banana Buddies book club pick of the month for March, and that's why I picked this book. And I really don't like this book. I give it 2.5 out of 5 stars. I almost DNF'd this book. I really just wasn't enjoying reading it, but I did decide to push through and read the rest. And to hear more of my thoughts on it, it will be in my March wrap-up. So the next book that I got from my boyfriend was Crown of Feathers by Nikki Palpretto, and this is this YA fantasy about this girl who becomes a Phoenix Writer, and this was a 2019 release. So I was really interested in this because I love stories about dragon riders, and I never read anything about Phoenix Riders before. So when this came out, I was really intrigued. And I think this story takes place in 2 timelines, and the current timeline is about this girl and her sister, and one of the girls wants to be a dragon rider, and her sister betrays her in some way. And there's also a part that takes place in the past, which is also about these 2 sisters, and one of the sisters is the queen of this nation. And I think there's some parallels between those old sisters in the past and these sisters in the present. So I really love stories that are like past and present kind of coming together, so I'm excited to read this one. Next, I got Opposite of Always by Justin A. Reynolds. This book came out in March, and it's about this boy who falls in love with this girl, and then the girl ends up dying, and so the boy gets the opportunity to travel back into the future when he first meets this girl and relive like falling in love with her and hopefully end up saving her life. And this sounds really adorable. This cover is so pretty, and I love reading books about Black main characters and Black authors, so I'm excited to give this one a shot. Another book that I got was The Last Magician by Lisa Maxwell. I've been dying to get my hands on this book since I believe it was Reagan from Peruse Project was raving about reading this book and how it was so amazing, and the way she talked about it really just made me want to give this book a shot and read it. So I decided to buy it, and it's recently been getting a lot of hype. Also from Hannah from A Clockwork Reader, I'd already bought the book by the time she started ranting about it, but still super excited to give this a try because both of those booktubers have recommended books that I really enjoyed, so I can't wait to start this one. The next book that I got was Picture Us in the Light, which is a contemporary novel that came out last year, and this does feature a male-male romance, and I think it's about this boy who is an artist, and he finds out that his parents are hiding some big secret from him, and it's also about him falling in love with this guy, and it sounds really good, and I heard good things, so super excited to have this book. The next book is another book that I learned about from Reagan from Peruse Project, and that is Foundryside by Robert Jackson Bennett. This is an adult high fantasy novel about this girl who is a thief, and she is charged to steal some magical artifact, and things end up going wrong, I believe. But this sounds like something right up my alley. I'm recently getting into more adult fantasy, and I've really enjoyed the adult fantasy I've been reading, so I'm excited to read this one. The next is another book that I got for my birthday that I've also already read, and that is Saga Volume 2 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. I read Saga Volume 1 last year, and I really enjoyed it. I just haven't gotten to the second book yet because $15 for a graphic novel that I finished in less than an hour really just hurts my soul, but I'm really excited I picked this up because the second one was just as good as the first one, and I can't wait to read the third one. And last but not least, the last book my boyfriend got me for my birthday was The Priory of the this is heavy okay The Priory of the Orange Tree by Samantha Shannon. This is another adult fantasy novel, and I'm pretty sure you know what this is because BookTube, Book Twitter, Book Everywhere has been hyping this book up. And this is another one that I'm also in the middle of reading. I am about a little over halfway through with this one, so hopefully it'll be in my March wrap-up. Hopefully I can push through these last 400 pages before March is over. But I've really been enjoying this book. It's a great take on dragon riders. It's different from any other dragon rider book I've ever read, and the world building is so amazing, and the characters are really interesting, and I can't wait to finish this one because I'm really enjoying it. So that was all the books that I got from my boyfriend. Well, everyone else in my family ended up just giving me money, so the rest of the books were just bought with the money everyone gave me. My mom, my brother, and my dad, all of them gave me money for my birthday, so I ended up, of course, buying some books with it. First, I'm going to talk about 2 books that I got off of thrift books, and the first one is In Other Lands by Sarah Reese Brennan, which is a book that I was really excited to read, even though I've heard like no one talk about it on BookTube. The plot sounds really interesting to me, and it is about this boy who ends up going on a field trip with his school, and when he's on this field trip he sees this magical doorway appear that no one else can see, so he goes through it and discovers this magical world called the Borderlands, and he ends up going to a school in the Borderlands and making friends there and going on adventures, and it just sounds so good. I love magical schools. And the second book that I got off thrift books is The Exile Queen by Senna Williams-Chima. This is the second book in the Seven Realms series. I already own the third and fourth book, and I read the first book last year, and I found the second and third book in Books A Million in the clearance section, so I already had read the first book and really loved it, so I bought the second and third book, but never ended up getting the second. I bought the third and fourth book, but never ended up getting the second book, so the other 2 books have just kind of been sitting on my shelf, and I couldn't read them because I hadn't had the second book, so I finally ended up buying the second book, and I'm so excited to continue on with the series because I really enjoyed the first book, which is The Demon King, and I can't wait to read these so I can finish the series. So the next couple books that I got on a whim at Barnes & Noble, and well, it wasn't on a whim. I went to Barnes & Noble with the strict purpose of buying this one book, and that book is Eragon by Christopher Paolini. This is the exclusive collector's edition, and I really wanted this because Eragon, if you don't know, is one of my favorite books of all time, and the copy I have of Eragon is literally falling apart. The cover has ripped off. It is a paperback. The spine is cracked. The cover has ripped off. The first page has fallen out. It's well loved, I will say that. So I want to get the whole series in hardback, and like all the books I own the first 3, and every single one of them is just trash because I read this book non-stop in middle school. I read the series non-stop, so all the books are really in bad shape, so I wanted to buy all new copies of the books in hardcover and the first one, and then I found out that the first one had a collector's edition that was exclusive to Barnes & Noble, so I went to buy it because it has exclusive content in the back from the author about his writing series, some bonus deleted scenes and all of such things like that. So I can't wait to get into that so I can read those, because I would love to read anything and everything new about this book. So in that same vein, even though I only went to Barnes & Noble just to get that one book, I ended up buying The Fork, the Witch, and the Worm, which is Christopher Paolini's new companion novel to Eragon. And it takes place after the events of the last book, which is Inheritance. And it takes place after that, and the way the book ended, it really left a lot of like open-ended questions. So this takes place after the book ends, and you follow the main character Eragon. Mostly, I think you follow other characters too, and you just kind of seeing what's happened to them since the book ended. This is one of the books I'm most excited to read, but I decided to reread the entirety of the Eragon series first before I dive into this one, just to immerse myself in the world again before I see what happened to everybody. So I guess I have to wait. Next is the book that I got myself, which is also a book that I've already read, but it is in a new edition that I'm so excited for, and that is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban by J.K. Rowling, and this is the beautiful illustrated edition that is illustrated by Jim Kay. And this is the first one of the illustrated editions that I own. I know the first through the third book are already out in the illustrated editions, but I ended up just buying the third book because I'm doing my Harry Potter reread this year, and I've already read the first and the second book by the time I'd already read the first book already for my reread, and I was in the middle of reading the second book by the time my birthday rolled around and I got the money to buy the books. So I was like, I could buy the second one, but I want to read one of them from start to finish, and I didn't want to reread Sorcerer's Stone since I already read it, and I was already in the middle of Chamber of Secrets, and I really want to read one of these from start to finish. So I decided to just get Prisoner of Azkaban, so when I get to my reread of Prisoner of Azkaban, I can read this in its entirety, start to finish. And that's how I ended up with just the third book in the illustrated editions, and I'm kind of debating whether or not to just wait and give my reread, like put my reread on pause until Goblet of Fire comes out in the illustrated editions in October. So I may do that if I really enjoy reading this one, which of course I will. So I'm trying to decide if I want to just go ahead and reread the regular book or wait until October to reread Goblet of Fire in the illustrated editions. So the next group of books I'm going to talk about, the next 12 books I'm going to talk about, all came from Book Outlet, because y'all know how I am. I'm obsessed with Book Outlet. So I got 12 books for my birthday from Book Outlet. There were 2 separate orders. I got 6 splints, and I was like, that's all. I'm not gonna get any more. Then I ordered 6 more. Yeah. So the first book is Rebel of the Sands by Alwyn Hamilton. This is a book that I read a couple years ago on my Kindle. Bought it on my Kindle for like 99 cents. And I read it and I really enjoyed it, and I found out that, well, I knew at the end of this one that it was a series, but I recently saw this book again and I was like, oh yeah. So I got this, and the whole series is on Book Outlet. So I decided to continue on with the series, so I bought the first book in hard copy just to reread it. This is a fantasy novel that takes place in, this girl lives in this desert city, and one day she ends up going on this adventure with this boy, and that's all I really remember. I don't remember much from this book, but there's magical creatures, and she discovers she has magical powers and things. That was awful. That was an awful description. But that's what I have, so that's what you got. The next book that I got from Book Outlet was The Devil Thief by Lisa Maxwell, which is the sequel to The Last Magician, which is a book that I got in this haul as well. They did have The Last Magician on Book Outlet, so if you're looking for the series and you didn't know, the first and second book, which are the only 2 books that are out, are both on Book Outlet. However, they only have The Last Magician in paperback, and I wanted my series to match, so I ended up just buying The Devil Thief on Book Outlet, and I bought, of course, The Last Magician off of Amazon. Next, I got Test of the Road by Rachel Hartman. This is another dragon fantasy, and after buying this, I found out that this is the author of Seraphina, the Seraphina series, which I never read, but I've heard of, and I just never really had an interest in reading. And I found out that this book takes place in the same world as Seraphina, but I don't think they're connected. I think it just takes place in the same world. But if anyone else knows whether you need to read Seraphina first, I don't think you do, just based on reading the synopsis, but if you do, can someone please let me know whether or not you have to read this book? You have to read the Seraphina series in order to read this book, because, yeah, I would like to get to this, but I don't want to read it and then in the middle of it find out that I need to read the first series. The next book that I got was The Last Namsara, which is, surprise, another dragon fantasy. I feel like I have a theme. This is another book that I read a couple years ago on my Kindle, which I got for cheap on my Kindle, and I don't remember. And recently, I think last year, the second book in the series came out, and then this year there's a third book coming out, I believe. And so I decided to buy the first book so I can reread it because I remember really enjoying it. But do I remember the plot? Not really. Besides the fact that it's about this girl who slays dragons. That's all I really remember. I think the series is more companion novels, so the main character in this is not the main character in the second book or the third book. So I don't think I really have to reread this to continue on with the series, but I do want to since I've forgotten literally almost everything about this book besides the fact that it's about the girl who slays dragons and she's a princess. Yeah. So I want to reread this before I read the rest of the series. Next, I have Dance of Thieves by Mary E. Pearson. This is a book that is set in the same world as The Remnant Chronicles, and it takes place after the events of The Remnant Chronicles. But again, it's a companion series, so the main characters from The Remnant Chronicles are not the main characters in this book. I read The Remnant Chronicles in its entirety last year and really enjoyed it. So when I found out that she had continued on with the series and made a new series, well, when I found out that she had made a new series in the same world, I really wanted to read it because I kind of wanted to know what happened to our main characters. I mean, I know what happened to them, but I can't wait to see them. Even though I know this book's not about them, I'm pretty sure you hear about them or they make an appearance or something in the series, and I'm really excited about that. Plus, the plot sounds really interesting. This is about a girl who is a soldier and she falls in love with like a thief. I could be wrong. I don't know, but I know it deals with like this mafia type outlaw family, and this girl who's a soldier, and it deals with a thief and someone from the outlaw family, and it's a lot, but it sounds good, and I will read anything that Mary E. Pearson writes in the Remnant Chronicle world. Next is a book that I wasn't really planning. I was on the fence about buying, and then I saw it on Book Outlet for cheap, and I was like, well, I guess I'm gonna buy it. And that is Legendary by Stephanie Garber. I read Caraval. Well, I started Caraval last year and DNF'd it, and then I read it, finally finished reading it in February, and I liked it, but I was on the fence about continuing on with the series because I didn't love it. And then the way the first book ended off, you kind of were satisfied and was like, I don't need to read the other books. I'm good where I am. But then I saw this on there, and I did hear that from people who felt the same way as me about the first book, that they did enjoy the second book better, and that it's not told from the same perspective as the first book. It's told from a different character's perspective in this book. I heard that a lot of people did enjoy the second book more, so I decided why not. The next book that I got is Hero of the Fall by Alwyn Hamilton. This is the third book in the Rebel of the Sands trilogy. So some of you are probably thinking, Kristen, you just said you bought the first book and this is the third book. Where's the second book? Is it on Book Outlet? Yes. Did I buy it? No. Why? I don't know. Like, why didn't I just buy the second book so I could have the series? Who knows? I think my point was I bought the third. I wasn't going to buy the whole series entirely. I was going to read the first book first and then buy the rest of them. But then I saw this one on there, and there was only 3 copies of it on Book Outlet. So I was like, Kristen, you need to buy this before it sells out because you don't know when it'll be back in stock. So I bought this, and then I didn't buy the second book. So now I need to do that because I'm strange. So the next 2 books that I got, I'm going to talk about together because they're the first and second book in the series, and that is Keeper of the Lost Cities and Keeper of the Lost Cities Exile. These are the first and second book in a middle grade fantasy series, and I'm trying to get into reading more middle grade, so I decided to pick these up, and I saw them on Book Outlet, so I just decided to buy them because one of my goals for the year was to read more middle grade. So this also has the magic school trope, which I love, so why not? And this is about a girl who finds out that she lives in the human world and she doesn't quite fit in, and she finds out the reason why is because she is part elf. So she ends up going to this magical world and going to this magical school. That don't sound like my cup of tea. I don't know what is. Next, I have Beyond a Darkened Shore by Jessica Leek. This is a YA fantasy series yet again. I don't know much about this. I couldn't even tell you the plot of this, but when I read it, it sounded interesting, but I don't remember anything about it. All I remember is about this girl who has the ability to control the minds and actions of her enemies, and that sounds super interesting, so I bought it. I have no regrets. Next, I got the third book in a series that I've already started, and that is Queen of Sorrow by Sarah Beth Durst. This is the third book in the Queen of Blood series. I have read the first book. I do own the second book, but I haven't read it yet. But I saw the third book on Book Outlet, and there were only a certain amount of copies, so I snatched this one up. The last book that I got off Book Outlet is another book series that I was on the fence about. I heard great things about it. Everyone raves about the series, but it just never really sounded, I don't know, I just never really got the urge to read it. Not that it didn't sound interesting, but I don't know. You know how sometimes there's this book series that sound interesting, but you're just not interested. I don't know. But that series is Scythe by Neal Shusterman. This is the first book. The second is Thunderhead, and this is about this world where all disease has been cured. There's a cure to old age, so no one has to die. Everyone can live forever if they so please. But since everyone can live forever, there needs to be a way to keep the population under control, which is where the Scythes come in. Scythes can randomly choose people out of the population to kill to keep the population under control. It's about this girl and boy who are chosen to be Scythes and start to undergo training. And yeah, I bought this. And then I'm glad that I bought it because this ended up being the pick of the month for one of the book clubs I'm in for the month of April. So it all worked out. The last book is a last minute edition that I wasn't intending to buy, but then I'm weak when it comes to book buying. So I ended up buying this book yesterday at the last minute, and that is Daisy Jones and the Six. My plan was to listen to this on audiobook because the audiobook is on script, but then everyone was raving about this book, and I was like, Kristen, you know you're gonna love this book. You might as well go ahead and buy a physical copy now instead of having to buy it later. And also, I prefer reading books physically. I don't really prefer audiobooks. I feel like I don't get as much out of a book when I listen to the audiobook, and since I'm pretty sure I'm gonna love this, since I'm predicting I'm gonna love this, I would rather read it physically than listen to the audiobook so I could pay more attention. I feel like my mind wanders when I listen to audiobooks, and I really want to be immersed in the story, so I decided to buy the book. And this is by the author Taylor Jenkins Reid, who is the author of my favorite book of last year, The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And this book is about this band called Daisy Jones and the Six, and it's about how they got together, about their time together, and why they broke up, because they broke up under mysterious circumstances that no one knows the truth of. So this tells the story of the band and their rise and fall. Whew, we are done. That was a lot. That was a whole lot. In total, I had 26 books for my birthday, 99.9% of which were fantasy. I think only 3 of them were contemporaries, and everything else was a fantasy. And I also got 3 Funko Pops, so yeah, I got a lot of books this month. So because of that, I have decided to not buy any more books for a couple of months, to devote more time to reading the books that I already own. So we'll see how that goes, how this book buying ban that I've set for myself goes. My ban is supposedly until October, but we will see. I've already planned on breaking it because with my Book Outlet order, they sent me a coupon for $5 off my next purchase, which expires in 3 months, which is well before October is over. So, I mean, I can't let the coupon expire, right? Right. So I'm already thinking about breaking my book buying ban just for that one order, you know? And also, I did say that any new releases that I'm anticipating which fall within those months, give myself a little leeway. I'm probably gonna say, instead of completely not buying books, just limit myself to 1 book a month. But then again, like I said, we'll see how that goes. But anyway, I know this has been a long video, so thank you for watching, and I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope you guys found some books on this list that you've never heard of that you are now interested in. If you have read any of these books and really enjoyed them, please let me know down below, or give me a suggestion on which one of these that I should read first, because it's a lot. So thank you for watching, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!